and welcome to the little church around the corner. We are so thrilled that you are here tonight. This is part of our Bosendorfer recital series, and we have two of the world's great artists right here in this space tonight. Matei walked into this church a couple years ago, and I have been so blessed by his presence and Missy's, and I just feel like they are just such true friends to me personally and to this parish. What they give is extraordinary. Minnie came to this parish about, I guess, a year ago, and in addition to being an extraordinary violinist and a child prodigy, she also studied organ for a while with me. So that's pretty cool, I think, right? Violin and organ. How many people can do that? So we are in store for a great treat tonight. And in 2 weeks is Holy Week. And we have some extraordinary services that will be happening here. Palm Sunday, Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, the Easter Vigil, Easter. After that, the Tuesday after Easter, we start our midday concert series. So if you are around on Tuesdays from 12:30 to 1, we do basically free concerts. It's $6 admission request. And it should be a great series this year. So Tuesdays, 12:30 to 1. And now, without further ado, the incredible Matei Varga.
Good evening, everyone. I am Matei Varga, and this is Prunella, also known as Pruski. And of course, she represents this wonderful big holiday that we are all preparing to celebrate in a couple of weeks. I'm never quite sure why bunnies are so connected to Easter, but maybe we'll find out one day. Maybe, John David, this could be one of your sermons. Anyway, I wasn't quite sure this afternoon when I left the house if she should join us because, well, you know, I mean, this is serious stuff, right? But she started putting on a scene, and she stomped her little feet, and she started crying, and she said, but I'm a regular at Little Church. Father John David blessed me, and he put me on the altar. I couldn't really argue with that. And then, you know, I tried to say, yes, but you see, it's Lent, and in Lent we're supposed to suffer, right? Well, or anyway, make sacrifices. And she said, well, but don't I make enough sacrifices for you every day? So, again, could not say anything to that. And then she said, you know, I want to hear Minnie, and I love Mozart. That sealed the deal. When you have a bunny who says she loves Mozart, there's nothing else you can do. So I'm just going to put her here, and she's going to enjoy Minnie and Mozart. And, well, you know, that being said, I think you're in for a lovely springtime program tonight. I'm delighted to be back here. It's never, it's never a sort of regular moment. It's always special to be in this very place, which means a lot to me and my wife, Missy, for many reasons, and be welcomed by you, by the people who make this place so special. So we're both very grateful for that, and I hope you will enjoy first the Mozart Sonata, which is a piece I played as a, well, I was going to say child, but I don't know if at 12 you're a child anymore. But anyway, I was around 11 or 12 when I first played it, and have not really gone back to it since. So this will be an interesting experience for me as well. And of course, really the way I see it, the reason we are here tonight is to celebrate a new wonderful talent. And that's not me, modestly. But it is Minnie, who is a superb violinist, and she is only 15. I know we shouldn't say the age of ladies, but in her case, I think it's important to know that she is only 15, and I think she has tremendous promise and a very, very substantial talent. And I'm sure you will enjoy listening to her. And I believe this is her debut at the Little Church in a soloist position. So I really look forward to joining her in two pieces. And then I'll tell you a little bit more about the Greek dances as we approach that moment. So thank you for being here. right now we have a special guest introducer. And you probably all, or many of you know her, Susan Maren Olsen. She is wonderful. She's a wonderful violinist and a wonderful person. And I had the pleasure and the privilege to play with her a concert, a midday concert last year. And it is thanks to her that I discovered the pieces that I am performing next. So I wanted Susan to tell you a little bit more from a very knowledgeable Norwegian point of view. And then, you know, I'll tell you a little bit more from my non-Scandinavian point of view. So, Susan, please join us.
Thank you. These tunes in your program say Norwegian dances, but actually Slåtta are not only dances, they're marches, they're listening tunes, and they are dances of many different types. And this came about, the Grieg pieces came about, a very famous fiddler, Hardanger fiddler, named Knut Dahle. He was the best fiddler of the late 19th century. He wanted his tunes to be written down because he was the best fiddler in Norway, and he was afraid that no one would know these tunes anymore. So he wrote to Grieg a few times, and he said, "Can you write these down?" Well, Grieg asked his friend Halvorsen if he could listen to Dahle play and then write it down as though it were for a regular violin, because Halvorsen was a violinist and composer, and then Grieg would transcribe them for the piano. Now, the Hardanger fiddle is very different than this beautiful violin that you just heard. It has 8 strings, 4 of which are underneath, and they just vibrate sympathetically, giving like a bagpipe type of a sound to the instrument. Also, there are some notes that are supposed to be a little bit high or a little bit low, not perfectly in tune, like you just heard the violin being played. The Hardanger fiddle is supposed to be a little out of tune, and of course, the piano can't do that.
Well, never say never.
Well, if you play in between the keys. So today, I believe that Matei is going to play several Brødmarch, and the Brødmarch is a bridal march, a few of them. And then there are different dances. There's the Springer, which is a couple's dance, very graceful dance, and it's done in different ways in different areas of Norway. Then you're doing a ganga.
Yes, that's
right. A
right.
ganga, which is a walking type dance, again, a couple's dance, and then a halling. And the halling is a solo dance for a man, and he's showing off for his lady friend. So he's dancing very wildly.
Or for whoever he wants to show off.
Okay, right. That's true. Sorry, I'm thinking of the 1890s.
Well,
he's showing off in any case. The friend that he's showing off for is standing on a tree trunk or on a chair and holding a hat on the top of a stick. And he is dancing so wildly that he has to kick that hat off. So that's the halling, and you're doing...
I think at least 2 of them, actually.
Yes.
So I will show off a lot, in other words.
I don't know if you're going to kick any hats, but you're going
Well,
to show
I'll
off.
do my best.
I have to say that Matei does the Grieg tunes so beautifully. He has such a wonderful interpretation that I've taken him on as the fellow Norwegian.
Thank you, Susan, so much. Thank you for this beautiful introduction. I hope that whet your appetite a little bit, because Susan will have a performance here in church, also in one of the lunch concerts. What day is it,
May
Susan?
14th.
May 14th, so that's exactly 2 months from today, May 14th, and she will be playing the Hardanger fiddle. Yes. So if you want to see and listen how that sounds, please join us. I will definitely be here. So, she told you everything there is to tell. I love these pieces because, well, but of course I'm telling you more. I love these pieces because in many ways they are so so full of fantasy. You see, listening them on the fiddle, you feel as if you belong to a different era, a different time, a different, practically almost like a different planet in a way. I mean, the instrument is so particular and so special, and it's so much seeped in folk and in authenticity of you know, the Norwegian tunes. Now, what Grieg did with them is also very personal. I think he put a lot of Grieg in them. And what I found fascinating when we played them together, in fact, we didn't play them together because they're not meant to be played with piano accompaniment. Susan played one, and then I played the same one on the piano. What was to me extraordinary is how you almost couldn't recognize the tune. I mean, it's so different, and it's not because I don't play them well. I mean, it's just because they're so different, and Grieg really harmonized and variated them. I mean, also they tend to be much longer. Don't panic, it's not that long, but much longer on the piano than the original version. So in any case, I do find them very interesting. They're almost never performed. So this is your opportunity to dive a little bit into Norwegian, beautiful Norwegian history and culture and folk, and also into Grieg. Now, the first I will play, and I'm not going to introduce each one of them, thankfully for you, but the first one I'm playing is a spring dance, perfectly in tune with where we are right now. And I've read about it that it's meant a little bit to suggest the motion of the trout, the fish in the stream, which is why, because apparently he or it or she has very jerky motions. That's why the accents in this tend to be on the second or third beat rather than on the first beat, being a measure of 3. And I'll tell you a couple of things more as we progress. Now the next one, which is one of the show-off dances, I was so much looking forward to it, and I am. It's a very funny story to me. Apparently it's about this man who has a bull, but he lost the bull. So he goes in search of the bull. You have to imagine all that while I'm playing, bull and all. And then, you know, he gets to this nice little green clearing, and he falls asleep. And, well, we don't know actually if he falls asleep and it's in his imagination or if it's actually happening. A beautiful maiden, like a, you know, fairy of some sort, comes and says, well, if you will play your fiddle, I forgot to tell you, he's of course a wonderful fiddler because, you know, they all are here. If you play the fiddle, then, and if you keep playing the fiddle all the way back home, you will find your bull at home. I guess he did. So, this is it. Do you think he found it? quite finished yet. Now the next one, you know how they say that you should not have favorite children. But we do. And this is probably my favorite, at least of the ones that I'm playing for you tonight. It's a really very sad little story about a young man who is going to marry a girl, but then the girl decides to marry someone else. And this song, this, well, how shall I, throughout March, actually, even though, you know, the way that Grieg sets it is to me somewhat less of a march, though it has a certain inevitability, is that even a word, to it. Basically, he is sitting with his fiddle on the side of the road, and he's watching the wedding ceremony pass by. The wedding ceremony in which his beloved is marrying someone else. So this is the story of the song. And I think it is a marvelous piece as it is for Hardanger fiddle, but also what Grieg did with it, to me, is quite special. So I hope you will enjoy it too. no going, beating around the bush. We did prepare an encore, and I'm very proud of it. So you better sit and listen. And you better sit and listen. It's a Romanian piece. It's a wonderful piece. You will recognize it. It's by Grigore Așlinicu, and you're going to dance with us. And what can I say? Thank you so much for being here, and bravo, Minnie, for a beautiful debut.
And come join us for a reception. Wine, cheese, cake, cookies, right over here in the transept. That was awesome.